Welcome to Let's Watch. Today we will break down Sci-Fi Electric Dreams episode named Real Life. Be ready for spoilers ahead. Sarah is a police officer. She and her companion Mario chat in a diner over a plate of fries and a burger before getting into a self-flying car. Sarah is certainly distracted and closed off. Later at home, she is haunted by an event where a couple of her workers were gunned down in the blood frenzy. Her girlfriend Katie comes home and tells her to cut back on the drinks. She comforts Sarah, who replays the event over and over in her head. To help Sarah, she offers a vacation in the form of a computer chip that would allow her to experience life in another place as another person. Katie plugs and wishes her a good vacation. After Sarah boots up the device, she, or rather he, wakes up as George. He is wondering where he is. His companion Chris tells him to stay alert and be careful. They are ambushed and brought to the mob boss Colin, who obviously knows George. They strapped him off the gun and holding down on the table. Collins threatens to cut off his finger. After that, when George manages to overpower the guy holding him, and he and his companion finish off the rest. One of them manages to escape and George is not sure what's going on, so he follows Chris. They get in the car and he tries to start the car with voice and some hand gestures unsuccessfully. Chris is just confused that they switch places. Chris is concerned because George is exhibiting some pretty unusual behavior. In Sarah's reality, the world is much more advanced, so they don't have a steering wheel. George starts remembering things from this world, such as his name and that Chris is his longtime friend. At home, his doctor friend Paula treats his wound and he has a flash of more memories as he is the CEO of Avacom. After Paula leaves, Chris comes back and tells him that Colin was the one who escaped earlier. In a flashback, he remembers that Colin is the one who killed his family. In Sarah's reality, Colin is the one who gunned down a bunch of her officers. George is restless, so Chris suggests a vacation without leaving his home. A prototype VR that George's company made. George thanks him and Chris leaves. He puts on the VR gear and wakes up as Sarah. She goes to the window and looks outside. This is a reality. Later, Sarah meets with Mario in a diner. She says that somehow the food doesn't taste right. She tells him about the vacation and how long she was there as George. The more familiar it becomes, like she was remembering her real life for the first time. They get a notification about Colin still being in the city. Sarah had suspected he never left town, but now it's confirmed. She wonders how it can be so easy and convenient that they know their next meeting place. Sarah and Mario enters a warehouse where Colin should be holding a meeting. She notices that it's the same place she was in when she was George. They spot Colin and some men conversing. Mario tries to call for backup but have no signals. He walks away and Sarah moves closer to investigate. She has found out after a chase she is knocked unconscious with some sort of immobilizer. She wakes up as George again. He is in a meeting with the Justice Department to inquire about his whereabouts about last night, the night he was with Chris at the warehouse. George has a flashback of his family being killed and throws up. At home, Paula checks on him. She thinks it's because of a concussion he suffered at the warehouse. He tells Paula that he can't remember his wife and only flashbacks of the video, and this troubled him deeply. He wonders why there are no pictures of her. He supposedly had put them away after her death, but Paula has a picture of Katie. He is suddenly surprised to hear that his wife's name is Katie, just like in Sarah's reality. Paula shows her the picture. She is the same Katie in the other reality. He begins to remember their time together and mourns her death. At this moment, George confesses to Paula that he has been using the VR and has memories of another life as a woman. The events are so similar it is disturbing. She says that it is probably deja vu and his brain is having trouble processing the simulated events. Paula explains that he is not a future lesbian super cop on a flying car, but that this is real life right here, right now. George doesn't agree with this. Something is wrong. Eventually, Paula manages to convince George to stop using VR. He promises not to. Just as Paula leaves, he gets his VR set ready and dives. Sarah wakes up in the hospital with Katie and Mario by her side. When she asks Mario what happened, he tells that criminals involved in the mass shooting are behind bars. At the warehouse, he manages to call for backup and they arrived and arrested everyone. She feels like this is all too perfect and simple. Later, Sarah and Katie gives each other a massage to relieve stress. Katie asks her about her vacation, if she slept with someone or anything interesting happened. Sarah tells her that she was a man and her wife has been killed and she was doing everything she could to find the killer. Sarah also tells her that in George's world she is his dead wife Katie, which is kind of creepy. She begins to share more similarities with both worlds like Collins and VR. Katie is annoyed because there is no such thing as both worlds. There is only one. Sarah says that for her there are two. When she is here, she remembers everything, but as George, everything's foggy and confusing. The problem is that her life as Sarah is too perfect. Everything fits together too easily. She can't distinguish what is reality anymore. Katie tells her that maybe subconsciously Sarah thinks that Katie is too perfect for her and doesn't deserve her, so Katie is dead in the virtual reality. She suggests going to the hospital in the morning and erasing all the memories of the vacation. Sarah reluctantly agrees. At night, Sarah has trouble falling asleep. She thinks about her life as George and decided to go in again. She puts on the chip and dives in. George visits the diner he had previously visited as Sarah with Mario. The owner asked him if he wants the usual, and that's when Chris enters the picture. They sit down at the same place and Chris tells him that Collins had fled the country, probably somewhere far away. Quite unlike what happens there is Sarah's reality. They are served burgers and fries, the same food in the other reality. To George, everything feels so similar. George says he remembers everything and knows what is going on and leaves. He comes home and sees Paula. He tells her that he knew she would be standing here the whole time. He suggests selling the company and donating all the assets to charity, saying he doesn't care about it anymore. She calls him crazy. He comes to his nightstand and notices that the VR headgear is gone. He demands that she gives it back, telling her that this world is his vacation and he just wants to get back to the real world. He can't believe that he's arguing with the fantasy. She gives him back the headset and warns him that if he dives again, it will damage his brain and he may never wake up. Paula says that everything sounds too perfect in Sarah's world. This is odd because he had said the exact same thing. In Paula's last attempt to stop George, she holds his hand and tells him to think of her. He suddenly remembers that Paula and he were having an affair. She explains that he developed this VR because his wife was killed and he wanted to live with her even if it was not real. That's when the vacation began. One of his world is not real. Which one is more likely? The one where his wife is brutally killed or the one where he is happily and everything is perfect? George is torn between the two, no longer sure which is real anymore. He mutters that he doesn't deserve Sarah's life and never did. He decided to accept his life as George as the reality and smashes the VR headset. Turns out Sarah was very real and she was just trapped herself in a fantasy. The doctor says that her neural pathways have shut down and nothing can be done. That's all from it. If you like this video, then do check out our channel for more similar videos.